Hey guys, gonna answer the question first about how did my past educators use technology in the classroom during band. There was a couple of different ways that we use, which I feel like are the pretty standard types of ways we use, or that many different bands use technology in the classroom. It wasn't anything that was too different than most bands. Um, the main thing we did was we used, the Dr. Beat in the back. We had our assistant band director usually in the back, or an older student, or somebody who, whatever the scenario was, somebody in the back of the ensemble. Whenever it was like when it was far enough before the week of a performance. Sometimes it really depended on how the ensemble, what the problems were in the ensemble, and if it was timing issues, we usually used Dr. B as long as it was like the week before the performance. And Dr. G would always point to the back, and she would say, "Give me some beats," and that was the sign for the metronome. So we used the metronome a lot. We also did um, for chair purposes, for chair testing and determining who would be in what ensembles. The easiest way that we thought to do it, because we moved to doing a blind audition system, um, what we did was we would have whoever was the student teacher that year. Um, Usually, the student teacher or maybe like the assistant director would, in some cases, would be back and would proctor the day's instruments that we're going to play for the record for testing. So for one day, she would have, okay, day one will be flutes and piccolo. Day two would be clarinets. Day three would be double reeds for saxophones and trombones, whatever. Um, and we would do that, and we would use. She wanted to be blind, so we would use a recorder because she didn't want to take any of our class time, and we usually spent enough time there for band purposes, like after school. So we moved to like a recording system during one ensemble. Whatever group was playing that, whatever instrument was being tested today, they would just leave all of them, and that section would leave out during the time, so she wouldn't know who went first, second, or whatever. And they would all go out in the hallway. They would go in the practice room, record themselves, and that's how we were chair tested. And when she listened to our audition, that's how we were chair tested, and how she determined who would be in the top group, and etc. Where the placement was for everybody. Um, Another way that we used technology, that might really be it. We were more focused on, we did use a little bit of smart music, but nobody really used it too much because she didn't really grade anything from there. So mainly, it was just like your standard like tuner, metronome, recording. We did whenever we did recordings, besides like ensemble stuff, we usually did it with a professional recording engineer for like, and those were really just for Super State purposes or Midwest purposes. It wasn't really for anything to listen to ourselves. So besides that, I don't think we really used too much technology in the classroom. So I feel like it worked for our program, but I feel like every program is different. So I think it does depend on the caliber of the group, um, and the level of the students, and a couple different things. Every school has its own vibe to it and has its own kind of things that go on. So it really depends. To me personally, it worked for my school and my band program, but I think it does depend on the director, the students, and the ensembles, and what the kind of the tendency has been in the past to do. So that's my 2 cents on technology and how we used it, what we used, and how it worked for us. So thanks.